Welcome, everybody, to another episode of the Daily Fantasy Digest Podcast, the all-inclusive podcast where we talk all things fantasy sports to help give you an edge. I am your host, Joe Beer, and I'm going to be breaking down this Thursday 10-game slate on June 20th. Just do a quick recap of yesterday's breakdown video that we did. Unfortunately, Dinger of the Day call did come up a little bit short. We called Josh Bell. Pittsburgh ended up putting up some crazy numbers. If you took some of the players from that game, it would have ended up being very favorable as well. Rich Hill did get removed from the game, undisclosed reason. So that kind of put a hindrance on pitching. And then Heaney had a very subpar game at best. So, it wasn't really anything to write home about. But Pittsburgh did, go ahead and capitalize, which was nice. So, hopefully you were able to take something from that video. But, not every day is going to be a winning day. We're winning lots of money. So hopefully we're here back today to bring something, a little bit better of a breakdown where the pitcher actually stays in for more than 3 innings. So far this week, we've been 2 for 3 on Dinger of the Day calls. Breakdowns have just been stellar this whole week with quality information. So I want to continue that today with this slate here and break down this very crazy slate. There's about 4 or 5 bullpen games going on, and we're going to want to target a few things there. But before we get into that, let's go into our pitchers here so we can get our SP1 and 2 in, locked and loaded. 10K pitchers. We have 3 of them. Frankie Montas, Jake Odorizzi, and Charlie Morton. Charlie Morton going up against Oakland is a very favorable matchup, and Frankie Montas on the other side as well. But I'm very interested in the middle of the tier guy here is Jake Odorizzi, who has just been having an incredible year. Really dropped a lot off of his ERA from last year and has been pitching absolutely stellar this entire season. Going up against Kansas City in a very favorable matchup where he put up 18 last time. I think that this time around it's definitely a better result with a lot more Ks and a high 20s or low 30s performance. So I really want to target Odorizzi here as SP1. Now, when you kind of lean into the lower to middle range here, you start to see a lot of bullpen games here. Really like Urias versus San Francisco, but he's not going to pitch more than 3 innings. They're going to be pitching a bullpen game with Caleb Ferguson following. And there's really nothing to really write home about here for pitchers. But somebody I'm very interested in is Framber Valdez for Houston Astros. Going up against a Yankees lineup who is just kind of starting to figure things out, but I still have no faith in them yet. Past 3 games for Valdez as he's pitching deeper into games as we see here. A 7 and 8K game in the past 2 games, upper 20s in fantasy points, and facing a hard Seattle team the game before that, went 4 innings as he was just starting to get into the starting role. Still ended up with a 16-point performance, and I think that going up against this Yankee team, he's going to be able to dominate. At 7.1K, it really opens up the floor for the salary that you're going to be able to get. If we go back and we just look at this lower tier, you're going to see so many bullpen games and even new pitchers starting that we've never seen before, and it's really going to be hard to gauge how deep they're going to go into innings. The only other GPP option I have here is Zach Gallen, who's coming out of a AAA start with 1.77 ERA with 112 Ks in 91 innings. Really impressive stats here coming out of these AAA games, but as you see here below, he just tossed 5 innings and only pitched 79 pitches. It doesn't make me feel really good that he's going to go deep into games, and I'm looking for somebody who's going to at least go 5 or 6 innings, preferably 6. So I'm going to be fading Gallen here because St. Louis has some pop when it comes to bats. Now, a bunch of sources say Strasburg tomorrow, but a bunch say Voth, so I'm not going to really be targeting this game as much in this breakdown. As it doesn't really pertain as well to anything that I'm really on today. But there's a lot of bat stacks that are going to be available today. So I really want to target those. So let's jump into the bat stacks and see where we want to start off here. Main game that I want to target here today is going to be the Chicago Cubs and the New York Mets. Before we go into the bats, let's just talk about the pitching real quick. Going to have Walker Lockett coming in from AAA, where he had a 3.28 ERA, 9 Ks in 24 innings. Really just terrible numbers. Running down here, he had an 8-6 win in Fort Myers on Sunday. Pitched 2 innings and gave up 4 runs on 5 hits with only striking out 2. So he's given up 4 runs in 2 innings. Doesn't make me think that anything's going to come out of this in a positive way. Wind should be, with the weather that we've had recently, wind should be howling. So hopefully if it's pointing out at Wrigley, that's a good sign for the Cubs bats. But I'm actually more interested in the Mets hitters tomorrow, as Chicago will be probably going into a bullpen game with the way that Chatwood pitches. He's an incredibly terrible pitcher, walks a ton of bats. So I want to lock in Michael Conforto and Jeff McNeil right off the bat. Conforto is just a lefty who just mashes righties, just absolutely smashes the ball, and should be starting tomorrow as he didn't today, as well as Jeff McNeil, who's also been hot as of recent. Would love to fit Pete Alonso in if you can, who's just an incredible rookie, just one of the most insane players this year, just filling up the stat column in every way, shape, or form. But I think that the Mets are going to be an underrated stack here. They're priced pretty appropriately, so you'll be able to fit some guys in here like Ahmed Rosario, who'll be able to get you some stolen base upside, as well as Todd Frazier, who's got some pop in his bat as well. But McNeil and Conforto are the two that I really want to prioritize here tomorrow. On the other side, for the Cubs, I want to lock in Schwarber as well, and then potentially Hayward. Hayward's price is just getting a little too low for me not to play him, so I really want to go at least Schwarber tomorrow from the Cubs. I think getting at least 3 to 4 players from this game is just going to be really crucial, as the team total hasn't come out yet, but Chicago's favored. So I can see Schwarber and Rizzo being valuable options here. But as of now, Schwarber's an absolute lock. He's been killing it hitting leadoff lately. So we'll come back to this game as well just to fit in some more pieces later on. So just to touch on this before we go any further. Angels are going to be a popular stack tomorrow. Clayton Richard in Toronto is just absolutely terrible. We look at his numbers this year, just over the past few games, actually. We just scrolled down here. You really see he's just been struggling as of late, 5-7 runs. Just been getting smashed by these better teams. So there's a few spots that I'd really like to target. Albert Pujols here at 4K. Is just a spot that I really want to target. He's going to be hitting 4-hole, and as well as David Fletcher at 3.9K. Somebody else I really want to target from this game. I know everybody's going to be on Mike Trout, but 5.8K is just a really tough pill to swallow. And the other player I'd really like to fit in, if potentially possible, is Justin Upton. But I think that Schwarber's a better play for me, in my opinion. So, moving on, last stack that I have is going to be Houston going up against Chad Green. Yankees are going to be throwing a bullpen game again, and the prices in this game are ridiculous. Michael Brantley is 4.1K going up against a bullpen game. You can pretty much sign me up. Same with Josh Reddick if you have the space. And then Jose Altuve is 3.8K, just coming off the DL. It just doesn't make any sense to me. Even as far as Bregman at 4.5K or Yordan Alvarez at 4.2K, all of these Astros are so underpriced for a bullpen game. So I want to lock in. Michael Brantley, and as very least in this video is just lock in Michael Brantley. He's just going to be incredible tomorrow, and as many Astros as you can fit in will definitely not be bad to get away from the chalk in the Angels game. But we will be trying to play some of that as well, as you're going to need to, hopefully, to cash out tomorrow. As always on this channel, you know that we very big fan of playing a low tier catcher. I think that you can find some pretty good value tomorrow depending on who starts. Luke Mail will most likely start just because of the lefty pitcher. 2.3K gives you 4K for a shortstop, which is just insane. You can get somebody like Ahmed Rosario, Adini Heteravia, somebody just to kind of tie in to that Mets and Chicago matchup. But I just want to throw that out there for you. If you're listening to the end of this video, definitely go for a low-tier catcher tomorrow. Catcher is always a position that I pay down for. So yeah, let's just do a quick recap really quick before we end this video. Pitching is just exactly what my lineup's going to look like tomorrow for pitching. Jake Odorizzi, just incredible pitcher this year. Framber Valdez, a little bit of a risky play, but I think it's going to pay off at 7.1K. I definitely think stacking New York Mets in the Cubs game is definitely a game that I want to attack, especially on the Mets side. Tyler Chatwood walks a lot of people, and Jeff McNeil and Michael Conforto are my two top tiers hitting on the left side of the plate. On the other side for the Cubs, definitely love Kyle Schwarber as well as Jason Hayward and Rizzo if you can fit him in. But I won't be prioritizing Rizzo on this slate because I think that if you go to the Angels side, Albert Pujols, who's just coming back and will be playing in this game, he's just had an incredible year so far. So I think Albert Pujols, and then David Fletcher at 3.9K, who's going to be hitting in the upper part of the lineup against a lefty pitcher. It's just going to be such a favorable matchup for him, and Clayton Richards has been terrible this whole year. And then just to cap it off, getting a piece from the Houston game is never going to be a bad thing when the Yankees are going to be pitching a bullpen game for Chad Green. So I think that Michael Brantley at 4.1K makes the most sense. Hitting lefty usually hits in the 3 spot of the lineup and is going to just be mashing the ball against these righty pitchers. So this is exactly what my lineup's going to look like come lock tomorrow. Keep in mind that you see the average remaining salary of $3,150 per player. We always pay down for catcher at this slate, so like I said, getting somebody like Luke Maile, who will be playing tomorrow, just based on the matchup from what I can tell at 2.3K. You can even go as low as Mike Zunino or Danny Jansen if he ends up playing. You'll definitely be able to get somebody around 4K to 4.1K, which is plenty of salary for a high-tier player. So just keep in mind that we'll be paying down for catcher tomorrow. But this is exactly what my lineup's going to look like come lock tomorrow, with Odorizzi Valdez getting players from the New York Mets in the Cubs game, and then the Angels as well. A lot of people are going to be on the Twins tomorrow going up against Glenn Sparkman, and depending on who pitches in the Washington game, Philly could be a popular stack if Voth is pitching. Keep in mind that as well, Jimmy Nelson will be pitching for the Brewers, so Cincinnati is going to be a popular stack as well. But for me, in my opinion, the Angels, the Mets, and the Cubs, as well as a piece or two from the Astros, are going to be the key as well, because the prices are just too cheap to ignore and allow you to get a high-tier pitcher. Getting any of those other stacks, you're not going to be able to get a 10K pitcher and be satisfied with your lineup. So this is exactly what I envision my lineup is going to look like roughly come lock tomorrow. Now, for our Dinger of the Day call that we do on this channel, I want to go ahead and put Michael Conforto on the screen. Dinger of the Day call will be the thumbnail of this video, as part of my favorite stack tomorrow going up against Tyler Chatwood and the Chicago Cubs. So keep an eye out for Michael Conforto to send one over the fence tomorrow in Wrigley. So yeah, I really appreciate the support that we've been getting on the videos as of late. It's just been incredible. So yep, stay tuned for more breakdowns. And if you're on YouTube, please leave a like and a comment. Let me know what you think of the video and the breakdown, anything I can do different or better. Subscribe if you haven't already, as well as if you're on Apple Podcasts, subscribe as well to stay up to date with all of the videos. If you wouldn't mind going over to Twitter and following us on Twitter at @FantasyDigest_. We'll have some giveaways coming soon for some merch that we're dropping. And as always, stay up to date with all the tweets that we're having as far as other videos and anything that we might tweet out before lock. Stay up to date for the rest of this week. Stay tuned. We'll be having an interview as well as a new series dropping and breakdowns every day. So stay tuned for that. And until next time, peace and good luck tomorrow and win some money.